A Stephen Hall Design. Narration by Summer, Greg, and Andrew. The Knut Hamsun Center. We will start by talking about the history of the building. When discussing the history, one may wonder where, why, by who, and when it was constructed. It was constructed in Hamarøy, Norway, in a small village where Hamsun spent his childhood. It was first devised in August of 1994 and realized in 2009, the anniversary on Knut Hamsun's 150th birthday. The building was designed by Stephen Hall to commemorate Knut Hamsun, a famous Norwegian writer who was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1920, and who is also considered by some the soul of Norway.
After a brief history on the building, many wonder how this great work was actually implemented. The first step in the process was initial sketches and design. Here we see the south and east elevation sketches, along with a plan demonstrating the isolated balconies. In this next sketch, we see the view of the road driving up to the building with mountains in the backdrop. This last watercolor sketch, Hall shows a relationship of light and trap shadows in section. From there, concept began to develop. Stephen Hall took reference from characters and themes of Knut Hamsun's stories and morphed it into his concept of building as a body and a battleground of invisible forces. The construction of the building started approximately 8 years after his initial sketches. They used cranes and built on site. Here's an image of the scaffolding when constructing the outer circulation shaft. And this is the scaffolding constructed to place the exterior skin of the building. The interior of the building is entered upon arrival of the front vestibule. The core of the building is its brass elevator shaft, which the stairs rotate around. The interior walls are concrete, imprinted with a horizontal pattern similar to the wood skin on the exterior. Light pierces through horizontal and vertical windows to light up the circulation and interior galleries. The spaces outside the elevator have convenient seating for those awaiting the arrival of the lift. The exterior of the building has balconies hanging off it described as apertures. There is a selection of green glass, wood, and brass balconies. Here is a closer look at the wood, glass, and brass apertures. The building is accounted for in all types of seasons. Here we can see how it is framed in the summer, autumn, and winter.
We now have an understanding of the history of the building and how it was constructed. Now it's time for us to explore its techniques in our own way and reconstruct its design, its various systems, and how it was physically constructed. We first did this by analyzing the building with a series of diagrams. The first diagram is a circulation diagram. Upon entrance, one is directed to the elevator and ascends to the top floor, which is the roof terrace, highlighted in green. Following this ascension, the guest then circulates down the main stair, which wrap around the brass elevator shaft through the various galleries and exhibit spaces. The large exterior stair, highlighted in red, is separate and intended for multi-purpose circulation. The light path diagram shows how light is allowed through the building by a series of strategically placed horizontal and vertical windows. The double height of the floors enable light to illuminate into every gallery space. The program diagram shows how the program is divided onto 8 different floors, including the roof terrace garden. Exhibition space is divided onto 4 separate floors, and the cafe, kitchen, and lobby are located conveniently for public access on the ground level and help to divide up the spaces between the floors with exhibition. The public versus private diagram. This diagram illustrates the areas intended for public use, such as exhibition galleries, and the areas intended for staff, such as the kitchen, and other private programs, such as the bathrooms. The enclosure diagram. This diagram shows how the building is made up of concrete bearing walls and an exterior dark wood paneled skin. This wood skin functions as a rain barrier, and the concrete has a white pressed panel pattern on the inside, reminiscent of the exterior wood panels. The structure. The structure of the building was built on site using reinforced concrete bearing walls. The environmental diagram. This is the final diagram, and it demonstrates in blue the wind that comes off the water from the northwest year-round, and the yellow indicates the angle of the sun at two different seasons, summer and winter. Next, we did a series of plans, sections, and elevations, all done in Stephen Hall's unique style of watercolor. Next, we modeled it in the computer in 3 dimensions using Revit to understand the circulation of the building as well as its 3-dimensional qualities.
Transferring call. Please hold.
Hello? Hello, my name is Summer Galal. I'm a student at NYIT, and I was doing a precedent study on Stephen Hall's building, the Hamsun Center. And I was wondering if I could speak to anyone that could give me any information.
It's actually our lunch hour, and we usually handle those requests via email. It's a very, very busy office, so it's easier to contact them. If you could email us, nyc@stephenhall.com, I can direct it to the person who's at.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Bye.
Finally, we created a 3D model to understand its actual physical construction. The building is strange.
Period. Said. I just love the way it feels.